King Charles just dropped some big news about Camilla, and now it looks like the royal couple is in for even more challenges. This announcement has turned heads and left people wondering what it all means for their relationship and the monarchy. Suddenly, Camilla's role is being questioned, and it's really caught everyone off guard. The story between King Charles and Camilla has always been a bit messy. Their connection started back in the 1970s when they first met, and there was an instant spark. But with royal duties and what society expected, things weren't that simple. They both ended up marrying other people. Charles to Lady Diana in 1981, and Camilla to Andrew Parker Bowles. Still, even though they went their separate ways, rumors about their bond never really disappeared. Throughout the 80s and 90s, the media was all over the drama between Charles, Diana, and Camilla. What started as quiet whispers turned into full-blown public gossip, with many believing that Charles and Camilla had an ongoing affair despite being married to others. Over time, it became pretty clear that there was a lot more to their story than met the eye. Charles and Diana's marriage was rocky, and by the early 90s, it was all out in the open. Diana famously referred to Camilla in a '95 interview, saying there were 3 people in her marriage, which really put Camilla in a tough spot. The public often saw her as the villain, especially after Diana's tragic death in 1997, which only made things worse for Camilla's image. Even with all this drama, Charles and Camilla quietly continued their relationship, knowing the media was always watching. It took a couple of years after Diana's death for them to be seen together publicly for the first time. What do you think will happen next for them in the spotlight? Going out together as a couple wasn't easy for Charles and Camilla. Lots of people wondered if the royal family and the British public would ever really accept her. By 2005, after facing years of tough media coverage, things started to change for them. On April 9th that year, they got married in a civil ceremony at Windsor Guild, followed by a blessing at St. George's Chapel. While some people started to warm up to them, others still had their doubts. But as time passed, Charles and Camilla worked on changing how people saw them. Camilla took on more royal duties and started appearing with Charles at official events. People began to respect her for her hard work and loyalty to the monarchy. Even though the memory of Diana was still strong, the media began to show a kinder side of Camilla, and the public slowly started to accept her. Still, their relationship always had that controversial background. The big question was how the British public would feel about Camilla becoming queen consort. The royal family was careful about how they handled her image. When King Charles became king after Queen Elizabeth II passed away in 2022, Camilla's role grew even more important. She had already shown herself to be a loving partner to Charles and a committed member of the royal family. But with her new title came new challenges. Even after so many years, the past still followed them, and people were still unsure about Camilla's place in the monarchy. Their relationship always catches people's attention, especially with King Charles's recent big announcement that put them back in the spotlight. Behind the scenes at Buckingham Palace, things aren't always smooth. While Charles and Camilla usually look united in public, reports suggest there have been tensions brewing lately. There have been whispers of disagreements between them, and what used to stay private seems to be spilling out. These issues might even be linked to that big announcement we've been hearing about. The royal couple is used to a lot of pressure, but now that Charles is king, things have gotten way more intense. Camilla has stepped into a bigger role, following in the footsteps of beloved Queen Elizabeth, and that comes with its own challenges. Although she prepared for this moment, balancing her public responsibilities with personal issues seems to have put a strain on her relationship with Charles. Sources from the palace say that Charles and Camilla have been disagreeing more and more, whether it's about personal stuff or their royal duties. One big source of tension is how they view royal traditions and family dynamics. While Charles has to maintain the old traditions of the monarchy, he also wants to modernize it to fit today's world. Camilla, on the other hand, has her own views on how she fits into the family after fighting hard for her spot, especially after being viewed as the other woman for so long. Insiders mention that a key issue between them has been how to manage the royal family's internal matters. Now that Camilla is officially recognized as queen, she seems to be taking a stronger stance on things, which doesn't always mesh well with Charles. As he tries to keep the royal family united under all this pressure, Some of his choices seemed to clash with Camilla's opinions, adding to their tension. This friction was particularly noticeable around Prince Harry's recent birthday. Camilla reportedly felt left out of the plans and made her feelings known behind closed doors. These feelings, mixed with ongoing disagreements about how to deal with Harry and his relationship with the rest of the family, created a tense atmosphere in the palace. Insiders hinted that their disagreements turned into some heated moments between Charles and Camilla, making things even tougher between them. As this all unfolded, royal staff noticed a growing sense of unease, highlighting just how deep the disagreements between the king and queen have become. The arguments between Charles and Camilla weren't just small squabbles, they were serious issues that were starting to mess with how the royal household ran. Charles, who's usually pretty calm, was having a tough time juggling his official duties with the stress building up at home. Meanwhile, Camilla, who knows what she wants, wanted to be more involved in important royal decisions. Just days before Charles was set to make a big announcement, their relationship hit a breaking point. Believe it or not, rumors have it that Camilla got kicked out of Buckingham Palace. So, what led to this reported expulsion? It all started over planning Prince Harry's birthday. What seemed like a simple family event turned into a big argument. As Harry's 40th birthday neared, things at the palace were already tense. For Charles, this birthday wasn't just a party. It was a chance to reconnect with Harry and mend their strained relationship. But Camilla didn't see it that way. With all the public drama around Harry leaving royal life, she thought royal duties should come first, and taking time for a birthday call with Harry would mess up important royal engagements. This clash sparked a heated argument between Charles and Camilla. What began as a disagreement over schedules quickly turned into a larger showdown about deeper issues. Charles felt it was crucial to heal his relationship with his son and was unwilling to back down. To him, spending time with Harry, even if it meant neglecting other responsibilities, was a necessary step to rebuild their bond. But Camilla wasn't having it. She felt like she was being pushed aside because of Charles's focus on Harry, which only made her more frustrated. As the argument heated up, it became clear this wasn't just about a birthday party. Old wounds and unresolved feelings boiled to the surface, making things way more intense than anyone anticipated. The tension in Buckingham Palace reached a boiling point, and in a dramatic moment, Camilla reportedly stormed out. The scene at the palace was wild when Camilla left, leaving everyone shocked. Her sudden departure really shook things up, and many were left wondering what that meant for the future. King Charles, however, is sticking to his guns about reaching out to Harry. He feels that fixing things with his son is more important than any issues with Camilla. This might just be the first step towards mending the gap that's been there in the family for years. Despite how rattled Buckingham Palace was by Camilla's reaction, Charles thinks this could be a big move forward. Sure, it upset his wife, but he believes it's worth it. It was hard for everyone to believe how fast things turned chaotic. Questions filled the air. Would Camilla come back? Was her time away just a short break or something more long-term? Everyone at the palace was caught off guard by her exit, and those who usually handled daily royal activities now faced a total crisis. With Camilla gone, the royal household suddenly felt incomplete. For days, palace officials buzzed around trying to wrap their heads around what had just happened and what it meant for the monarchy. For King Charles, this fallout was personal and very public. He had to figure out a way to juggle being a king and looking after his family ties. And let's not forget, this happened when the monarchy was already under a lot of public scrutiny. Camilla leaving raises some serious questions. Could it be the start of problems in their marriage? Will they be able to work things out, or is there more trouble brewing within the royal family? When the news broke, reactions poured in. Camilla's supporters quickly voiced their worries, while others saw this as proof of ongoing tensions, especially concerning Prince Harry and his ties to the monarchy. Social media lit up with theories about what really happened and what it means for the future of the royal couple. Behind the scenes, royal insiders are talking about what Camilla's departure could mean in the long run. The royal family has been trying hard to keep things steady, especially after Queen Elizabeth II passed away and King Charles took over. Camilla played a big role in this change, stepping up as queen consort with grace and dignity. But now that she's suddenly left Buckingham Palace, the royal family faces a fresh challenge in how they are seen by the public. What does this mean for Camilla's future? people are talking about whether her position might be at risk after this surprising announcement. Camilla's path to becoming queen consort wasn't easy. Since she started her relationship with Charles, she's faced a lot of public judgment, and sometimes even criticism. Yet she managed to stick by him through it all, becoming a steady presence, especially after Queen Elizabeth's passing when she took on her new role. But with the recent drama, many are asking if her hard-won place in the monarchy could be in jeopardy. As queen consort, she has important duties. While Charles handles the state matters, Camilla is expected to support him during public events, represent the monarchy, and get involved in charity work. However, her recent exit raises questions about how she can continue with these responsibilities. Some insiders think the argument behind her departure might reveal deeper issues in her relationship with Charles and within the royal family. If the rift is really serious, it could put her role as queen consort in doubt. There's talk that her influence over royal decisions, which some claim has already been a point of tension, could be decreasing. Some believe her leaving the palace means she might be temporarily stepping back, while others think it could indicate a more lasting change in her role. If she is losing her influence, it might lead to a reassessment of her responsibilities as queen consort. Plus, people are noticing that the monarchy is stepping into a new phase under King Charles. What's going to happen next? There's a lot of talk about how the royal family is changing, especially when it comes to Queen Camilla's role. Some people think that as King Charles tries to modernize things, Camilla might take on a different position or even fade into the background. So is her future as queen consort a bit up in the air? Despite some challenges and public criticism, Camilla has shown she's pretty tough. She's weathered all sorts of turmoil, but is the change in her moving out of Buckingham Palace just a short-term thing? Or does it signal a big shift in the monarchy? Right now, it's hard to say, but one thing is for sure. What happens next for Camilla is still a mystery. Then there's the complicated dynamic between Prince Harry and Prince William. With everything happening, many folks are curious about how the brothers feel about Camilla and what part they played in this drama. They grew up during a time when Camilla wasn't a big part of their lives, even though her connection to their dad was well known. After their mom, Princess Diana, passed away in 1997, their grief was compounded by how the media spun the story, often portraying her as a victim of Charles and Camilla's affair. This definitely shaped how they viewed Camilla for a long time. As time went on, Charles slowly brought Camilla into more family moments. At first, both brothers were pretty reserved around her. Harry, in particular, has shared how hard it was for him to handle losing his mom, which made it tricky to get to know Camilla. But over the years, things changed. By the time Charles and Camilla tied the knot in 2005, William and Harry were older and had started to come to terms with their dad's relationship. They even attended the wedding, showing some acceptance of Camilla. However, behind the scenes, things were still complicated. Reportedly, while their relationship was getting better, it wasn't completely smooth sailing. William, known for being duty-focused, seemed to have come to terms with everything a bit easier than Harry. So, where does that leave them now? It looks like the royal story is still unfolding. Harry always got how important it was to keep the peace in the royal family, but adjusting to Camilla's growing role was tougher for him. Over time, the relationship between the princess and Camilla changed as the family strived to repair their image. They began to view Camilla less as an outsider, and more as someone who genuinely made their dad happy. She played a supportive role, not trying to be Diana, but finding her own spot in the family. In public, William and Harry kept things friendly with her, going to family events and royal gatherings where she was around. But as Harry's relationship with the royal family started to strain, especially after marrying Meghan Markle and stepping back from royal duties, the gap between him and Camilla seemed to grow. Their relationship became tricky, filled with past issues and rising tensions between Harry and his dad. Meanwhile, William has stayed active in royal duties, and his connection with Camilla has improved. He sees her place in the monarchy and knows that presenting a united front is key for the family's future. Still, Diana's memory hangs over everything, shape-shifting the dynamics between William, Harry, and Camilla. It's interesting that the royal family hasn't said much about all this, which only adds fuel to the rumors. They haven't released any official statements, leaving people to guess about Harry and William's involvement in Camilla's exit. Some think this might be a way for the royals to manage the situation quietly, away from the public eye. After Camilla stepped back, both Harry and William decided to stay out of the spotlight, avoiding direct comments. Harry, who usually speaks his mind about his problems with the family, hasn't tackled this issue in public. On the other hand, William, who tends to keep things private, has also opted for a low profile. Royal marriages can seem glamorous, but they often hide deep struggles behind palace walls. The union of King Charles and Princess Diana is one of the most famous examples of that. What challenges might the royal family face next? Royal marriages have often faced their share of problems, and King Charles isn't the only one to deal with a rocky relationship. Many royal couples have struggled under the watchful eyes of the media and their countries. Remember Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson? They had a fairy tale wedding back in 1986, but things quickly went south. Andrew's busy military career meant he was often away, leaving Fergie to tackle royal life alone. This left her feeling pretty isolated and frustrated. By 1992, they couldn't take it anymore and separated, officially divorcing in 1996. Fergie's relationships with other men during their split didn't make things easier and hurt her image at the time. Despite everything, Andrew and Sarah have surprisingly stayed close and even continued living together after their divorce. Then there's Princess Margaret and Lord Snowdon, who also had a tough time. They tied the knot in 1960 after Margaret had her heart broken by a man she wasn't allowed to marry due to royal rules. At first, their marriage seemed like a breath of fresh air. Snowdon was a trendy photographer who brought some modern vibes into Margaret's royal life. But behind that glamorous image, they faced serious issues. Snowdon was often away for work and their personalities just didn't click. Margaret craved attention while Snowdon started to lose interest in the royal life, which only pushed them further apart. They both ended up having affairs, and by 1976 they announced their split, finalizing their divorce in 1978. So, while we've seen royal marriages struggle before, we've yet to see a king and queen consort face these kinds of challenges together. What does the future hold for the monarchy as family tensions rise and public interest grows? It looks like King Charles has some tough times ahead as everything unfolds. People have been wondering about the British royal family's stability for a long time. For many, the monarchy has represented tradition and a sense of continuity. Queen Elizabeth II was great at keeping a strong image of a united family during her reign. But now, with her passing and King Charles taking the throne, things are changing. We're entering a new chapter that needs to adapt to today's world. Charles has always been seen as someone who wants to modernize the monarchy and make it more relevant. However, the recent issues between him and Camilla could make those efforts difficult and have put a bit of a cloud over his early days as king. Some folks think this situation might settle down soon and that Camilla will come back to fulfill her royal duties beside Charles. Others see this as a key moment where Charles could rethink how the monarchy is set up and possibly change what Camilla's role will be. Could this be a sign that things might change in how the monarchy functions? One way forward for the royal family might be to focus more on the younger royals. Prince William and Kate Middleton have stepped up and are taking on more public roles, positioning themselves as the future. As Charles deals with current tensions with Camilla, many are eyeing William and Kate to help keep the monarchy's image strong and ensure it stays relevant. They're viewed as a modern royal couple that younger people can connect with, bridging the gap between tradition and what's new. On the other hand, Prince Harry adds some unpredictability to the mix. He's distanced himself from royal life in recent years, but there are still tensions between him and Charles, as well as the rest of the family. If Charles decides to mend things with Harry, it might allow Harry to have a bigger part in the royal family's future. But given the ongoing issues between Camilla and Harry, that's still up in the air. Public opinion will also be super important in what happens next with the monarchy. Recently, with everything surrounding her departure, old criticisms could come back into play. If people start to turn against Camilla, that could make her situation even trickier. What do you think might happen next? Charles is back in the spotlight and things are getting tricky for him. He's going to have to make some tough choices about what's next for the royal family. What happens next could really change how the family looks to the public. Will Charles and Camilla work things out, or is this the start of a bigger shift in the royal household? With everyone watching closely, they have to be careful. Every single move they make will be under the microscope. and their decisions will stick with them for a long time. This situation raises some big questions about how modern monarchs deal with personal and public challenges. Now, Charles and Camilla's relationship is about to be tested more than ever. Do you think their marriage can handle all this pressure? We'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment below. That's a wrap for now. Catch you in the next video.